Hey BroMob, quick reminder before we get into today's show. We are giving away a free signed DeAndre Hopkins jersey in the month of July. There's 3 ways to enter. The first way to enter is to leave us a review on Apple Podcast. Head over there, leave us a written review. We really appreciate the feedback. The second way to enter is to head over to our website, thefantasyfootballbros.com. Look for the BroMob giveaway image. Click that and fill out the entry form. The last way to enter, which will get you 2 entries into the drawing, is to become an official BroMob member over at jointhebromob.com. Jointhebromob.com is our Patreon website. This is where you can help us support the podcast. We really appreciate any support you give us, and that will get you 2 entries into our drawing if you're an official BroMob member. So don't miss it. Be sure to get all 4 entries for your chance to win our BroMob giveaway.
Welcome into the show, BroMob. We are your hosts, Chad and Brian. Today is Monday, July 1st, and as always, we've got a great show lined up for you today with the AFC and NFC South overview, some players that Brian and I love, some players that we hate, the situation that's kind of going on there, the situation. Of course, you get to listen to Brian's terrible takes, my great takes. Welcome into the show, Brian. Looks like you haven't had coffee again, so great.
Yep. I actually just had a nap. Feeling good.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Always napping.
Yeah, it was a good day for a Sunday nap, man. I mean, it's 195 degrees in Arizona today. And so I felt like, hey, I can't go outside. Otherwise, I instantly catch fire. So I'm just going to take a nap.
Did you say 195?
Yeah, it's 195 degrees, real temperature. So, yeah. No, it's really not 195. It's I think it's probably about 108 right now.
Okay. Yeah, we've had a heat wave here too. It's ridiculous. You like I just move on. I'm not going to deal with the 90-degree difference. Move on.
I've been stuck in here at 110 basically is where we're at. Let's just call it. I mean, 2 degrees more. It probably is 110. Just the temperature gauge isn't reading it. And it feels like it. You walk outside, you're like, "Oh my God." And this temperature that we're at today is kind of like the line for me. Anything lower than this, I feel like it's all right. It's not that big of a deal. It's warm, but it's not that bad. Anything at this or above, I'm like, all right, it's getting hot. So it's pretty warm. Brian line. And so because of that, I stayed in. I took a nap. We watched a little. I watched a little YouTube. I was catching up on my Saturday Night Live clips. Literally binge watched all the "What's Up with That" clips of that
so great
segment.
Keenan's the best.
You know,
he is. It just one of those secret best.
That clip is
guys.
That clip's a lot of fun. Just I don't know how they came up with it. He had to have created that because it fits him perfectly. Just the ooh wee. What's up with that? What's up with that? And so it was just there was one with Samuel L. Jackson on, and he was promoting Django, the movie Django, and he's going through it, and then all of a sudden the drum in the background's like dun dun. And Keenan, you look at Keenan's face, and he just knows. And so Samuel L. Jackson's like, "Don't you cut me off, man." He's like, and Keenan gets up, he goes, "I won't cut you off, but I got to ask." Ooh wee. And he cuts him off anyway. And I just died. Absolutely died. So yeah, that's how I've spent my Sunday, man. But yeah, that's the best way to spend a Sunday.
Take a nap, watch Keenan. It's good to go.
That's a good day. I feel like if you could do that every day, it's a good day. Right?
I spent my Sunday overviewing our recent rookie picks that we had in our dynasty draft. And I mean, I didn't have many picks. I just had the 3, but I'm happy. I got my guy. I've been talking about him all season. Miles Sanders. We still got the bet. You want to back out on the bet?
No, I'm gonna stick with it.
I thought maybe you'd want to back out because
no, I'm sticking with it. Not gonna back anywhere. So I'm sticking with it. Feel pretty good about it. So nope. But yeah, you did well. Got Miles Sanders. Who else did you draft?
Andy Isabella.
Yeah, that was a good pick.
Second. And then I grabbed Benny Snell, who is like mini Marshawn Lynch. So when James Conner gets injured, watch out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just made moves, man.
Yeah, you were busy.
Yeah, so I'd already traded my first round rookie for to move up in the draft to draft Geronimo Allison. So basically my first round rookie pick was Geronimo Allison, which I was perfectly happy with. So I'm real pleased with that. And then so then I had the 202, which was my pick. And then I also had the 208, which I acquired in the Geronimo Allison trade for my first round pick. I acquired his 208. So I had the 202 to 208 and the 311 were my rookie picks. And I don't know, I thought I did pretty well, don't you? I mean, I traded my 202. I got a trade offer that I couldn't refuse right before my pick. So I traded my 202 for a 2020 first round pick and the 301 in that current draft. So I moved my 202 to the 301 basically and acquired a 2020 first round. So pretty happy with that. That's a good deal. I felt like.
I mean, you should be. You got a first out of a second. So
yes, that's the way I looked at it. I mean, felt pretty good about it.
You should. You did what you could with what you had.
I thought other than that, I took value when I found it at the 208, and then I had the 301 and the 311 after that. So I felt like I took pretty good value there.
Yeah, I was actually pretty impressed. Speaking of moves, though, do you follow basketball, Brian?
Sure. Yeah, I heard. Yes, I follow basketball.
What kind of question sports?
Is that? You know I follow basketball. That's the worst segue I've ever heard.
Activities, Brian?
Do you play activities? Do you shuffle? Do you play shuffleboard?
Well, I do.
I know you do because we played. So
you are the creator of the Safe Point. All day, every day.
Point. I did.
But anyway,
did create the Safe Point. So, but
Nets.
absolutely, a lot of moves in the NBA right now. So it's been fun to watch. I've actually been more addicted to women's soccer.
Before we get into that,
I said it.
I got to talk about this. So Kevin Durant has pulled a whoop-de-doo.
A whoop-de-doo.
A little whoop-de-doo on the Knicks. And it's going to be signing with the Nets.
Whoop-de-doo, Basil. That's all. What does it mean, Basil? That's all I can think of. Austin Powers when you do that.
Signing with the Nets with Kyrie Irving and DeAndre Jordan to create another super team, essentially. Katie's going to miss next season, more than likely. But when he comes back, that's a sneaky, scary, not even sneaky, that's a scary trio.
No, it should be good. I don't know. I mean, I get it. I thought he should have stayed in not OKC. That's where he was before. In Golden State. I feel like they've got a good team there. I felt like through the injury, the city and everybody, all the fans embraced them finally, and so he finally was like, what he had always wanted. I don't know. I felt like he probably should have stayed, but hey, good for him.
He's doing his thing. So, but
sure is. So I've got a question for you.
Hit me.
It's a question of the day. Actually, is what I'm going to call this little tidbit. It's fantasy related. Should you have a draft strategy going into your fantasy draft? And if so, what's the best strategy to take?
Mock up, know your position well in the draft. Understand what players are going around there so you don't reach on certain players. And just, come prepared. Come with your notes. Come with your key to the title information from us, from the Fantasy Football Bros. Have your tiered rankings ready and just draft off of that. Don't sway off of it. If you like a player, don't be afraid to take them and just go forward with that.
Yeah, so I agree completely. I think being prepared is probably the most important thing you can do. I think when you come to the draft and you're not prepared, you're winging it. Please do not come with a magazine.
Don't
you know what I'm saying? Like, don't be that person. And so, but I think come prepared. do your diligence. If you're not going to, you should definitely be using Key to the Title, because it's going to help you. It's going to help guide you through your tier rankings. A lot of sleeper hidden stuff in there. We're going to be going live with that for people to view on in the middle of July. So we'll have an official date here coming soon. But you want to have a tiered ranking system that's going to help you see where the value's at and where the reaches are at, and just know, like Chad said, know your position. And I think another thing too is you want to have a philosophy going in. What is your draft or your fantasy philosophy? I'll call it. Like, for example, my philosophy, Chad, this well, is I tried to not take a quarterback until the 10th. Now, I'll break that if it makes sense. Like, if there's just somebody in the 9th that I'm like, oh, I can't believe this guy fell to me. I can't not take him here. So I think those are the things you want to have a philosophy and a strategy in place and a system in place. And the Key to the Title is going to help you do that. But more importantly, even if you're not using Key to the Title, have a philosophy, have a system, do your diligence, and build your rankings. So that way, when you show up to the draft, if you're prepared and you've taken the time to prepare, and everyone else in your league has done less preparation than you, you're going to shine. You're going to find all those deeper values. I've seen it time and time again. So that's the one area I would say is, I agree with you completely, Chad. And so those are the areas: be prepared and tiered rankings, etc.
All right, well said, Brian. If you haven't already, BroMob, be sure to follow along after the show with us on Twitter, on Instagram at FF Bros Podcast, and search up that hashtag BroMob for some really good, helpful hints out there. So, all right, Brian, let's get into the show and hit up some news.
Here's the news.
You were off.
Sorry.
Starting off with the news, some really big stuff. So Tyreek Hill actually met with the league this past week, and the meeting supposedly went very well and in Tyreek Hill's favor, with possible suspension to be handed down in the month of July. And so we're going to sit back and kind of brace back for what that suspension may be. There's some talks about what it may be lengthwise, but right now all of that speculation and it's just hearsay. So we're not going to go and start spewing any dates right now. We're just going to sit back and play the waiting game. So sometime here in the month of July, we should be hearing about Tyreek Hill. So that should be some really big news.
Chad, do you think, like, on that subject, I know we don't want to speculate, and we had, as soon as there was some stuff that dropped this week, we had a lot of questions within minutes of that drop. And I felt like I was putting the fire out a lot. And so, but one of the things that came out was the possibility of a 4-game suspension. So I just want to touch on that really quick. That is not what the actual ruling is yet. We do not know. But let's talk about ranges for just a minute. So if it's a 4-game suspension,
yep.
How do you look at Tyreek then at that point?
I mean, he significantly jumps in my rankings. I mean, 4 games is a significant difference from 6, 8, or even the full game, the full season suspension that they were talking about. I think a 4-game suspension keeps Tyreek Hill around the 5th round, because I mean, he comes back in that week 5 or that 5th game rather, and he could change the whole course of your team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, 4 games is pretty short. I would be shocked if it is only 4 games, but that would be unbelievable for fantasy purposes, right? You're talking
absolutely.
The first month, but then he's back and you have him through playoff schedule.
Yeah, that would be big. All right, the New York Giants quarterback Eli Manning has come out and said that he does not feel as if he's competing with rookie QB Daniel Jones during off-season camps, or basically competing for his job. I don't know about you, Brian, but I think Eli Manning might have to consult with some people, because from everything I'm kind of hearing, Daniel Jones has been turning heads and making people second guess that.
Here's the deal. Okay, I'm just gonna put it out there. Eli Manning's not competing with anybody because Eli Manning's competing with himself. Because Daniel Jones is, Eli Manning. They're the one and the same. He's a clone. He looks just like him. They make the same faces. They have the same body language. I believe they eat the same foods. They shower in the same shower at the same time.
Interesting.
And it's just, yeah. So, I mean, that's why. I mean,
if one thing's for sure.
Would you be scared if you were looking at yourself in the mirror? I mean, you should be.
One thing's for sure. Daniel Jones might be one of the best, studiers in the game. He's just studying Eli Manning and copying everything he does.
Eli wakes up in the morning, turns over in the bed, sees Daniel Jones.
Smiling back at
Daniel
him.
Daniel Jones has a pad of paper. He's just taking notes.
That's
in
how
the
he
bed.
sleeps. That's what he does.
That's right. Yeah, I don't think Eli Manning is going to be the starter. I think New York will do him right. They're going to have Daniel Jones for many, many, many years. It's not like the team is going to compete this year. There's no benefit in rolling Daniel Jones out there this year. Let him learn. Let him play. Eli's going to be the guy. And then this might be the last year for him, though. This could be it for Eli, especially if Daniel Jones does. Preseason is going to be interesting. If he turns heads.
Yeah. That's going to be very interesting.
I think this is the last season for Eli if that happens. But I still think Eli is the starter no matter what.
We'll see. Per rotoworld.com, the Seattle Seahawks workload for their backfield could vary from game to game. So this is sounding very much so more like a running back by committee situation than what some people were kind of thinking. Chris Carson might just take the job over again, and they might throw Penny in there every once in a while. But it's sounding like even Pete Carroll has come out and said that he wants to have a 1-2 punch between Carson and Penny. So Penny could be seeing the field a lot more this season, which makes sense. I mean, they drafted him in the first round last season. So
I don't buy into what coaches say and what teams say. I buy into what they do. And so when training camp starts and we see who's getting the first team reps and we start to see who is shining more, that's when we'll know who the running back is on that team. I think it's Carson. I don't think Penny's gonna get worked in, but I think it's Carson is the main guy. And so I'm not worried about it right now. If I see something different in training camp, then we'll adjust. But for now, I'm not gonna act based on what they're saying, because sometimes coaches and teams say stuff just to throw you off, throw everybody else off. They don't want you knowing what their team's thinking. So I'm not worried about this right now.
The Buffalo Bills backfield of LaShawn McCoy, Frank Gore, Devin Singletary are sitting here splitting first team duties and reps all off season. This sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, it's a backfield I'm staying far away from.
Yeah, I'm not touching anything with it. So, Packers' new head coach, Matt LaFleur, wants the running backs to be used in the passing game more this coming season. So, this makes sense. Green Bay finished 24th in total running back receptions last season with a 17% target share in the passing game, which was very low towards the bottom of the league there. So, good news for Aaron Jones. I don't really see Jamal Williams as a guy that's going to be catching passes, so Aaron Jones could be that dude.
Yep, love it.
And then our final bit of news, the starting three receivers for the Arizona Cardinals right now are as follows. Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk, and a guy I just snagged in the second round, Andy Isabella in the slot. For a team that's going to be running a lot of 3 wide sets and sometimes 4 wide for that air raid offense, it's looking like Andy Isabella is going to get some really good playing time in his rookie season.
Yeah, so far, I mean, we'll see. Yeah, this is still so early. I want to see what happens in training camp.
Well, you keep your eyes open.
I like Christian Kirk, though, a lot.
I love Christian Kirk. I think Christian Kirk's got himself an opportunity to step up, show his game off, and kind of take it over. Say, bye, Fitz. We got a handle from here on out.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, that does it for the news. Let's move on.
Judgment time.
So this week, we're going to be judging the AFC and NFC South divisions and talking about some of the players we love, some of the players we hate. Brian, let's get her started and hit it up with our first division.
AFC South.
So the AFC South, man, they got themselves a pretty nice schedule this season, and there's not much to not like about them. in terms of fantasy players. I feel like there's at least two teams out of the four there that have some really high upside, with the Colts and the Texans. Titans and Jags, they have a couple players, but outside of that, a lot of question marks. So let's start it off, Brian, with some players, situations that we love in the AFC South.
Love.
I'm just going to start it off with, I love everything about the Colts. I don't know about you, Brian, but Andrew Luck has got a cake season. T.Y. Hilton has a cake season. Marlon Mack starts the season off a little rough, but then after that, it looks clear for him. There's not really a person I don't like on that offense this season.
Yeah, I like Marlon Mack a lot. I mean, I'd like to have him in every league that I can. You know, look, he's right now the ADP. I like his ADP is really what gets me. So 301 right now, which is a great pick. He's come up a lot. He was going in the later part of the third. But 2018 through 11 games, he averaged 4.7 yards per carry. He had 195 totes, 908 yards and 9 touchdowns in just those 11 games. And he added 17 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown through the air as well. So the only thing that concerns me about Marlon is Nyheim Hines. And I'm not too worried about Hines. But the team has said that he is going to retain the passing downs role for this season, and that just tells me that Marlon Mack can't stay on the field for. He's not a pure three down guy. He's going to come off the field in those passing situations, and that takes away from some of his upside. So he does have a little bit of a cap on him. If he can get more involved in the passing game, he could easily shoot to, you know, a top 7, top 8 status. I mean, he has the ability to be an RB1 right now.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, with no true wide receiver, I mean, T.Y. Hilton's great, but he's not great in the end zone. He's one of the smaller receivers in the league. And then they drafted Paris Campbell, another small dude. With no true wide receiver on the outside to command a lot of, I guess, offensive looks in the end zone, Marlon Mack stands out to me as somebody who's going to get a lot of carries inside the 10 to 20, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, again, also Eric Ebron, I think, stands out there. So, you know,
Ebron.
I think the team wants to be fast on the outside, and they want to be big inside the 20, run the ball with Mack, pound it, play action to Ebron. I see it. You know, from the 20-yard line in, that's kind of what I see happening there. And, you know, so I think there's going to be some, I think there's going to be a lot of fantasy points come out of that team.
Yeah. Another team, though, Houston Texans. I mean.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right there with them. They kind of got the same setup, but they're better at wideout. Because, of course, they got Hopkins. I don't think we need to talk about him. It's... He's the best.
Yeah, but I like Will Fuller.
That's where I was going. So the person that I love in this whole division is Will Fuller. Maybe not so much, well, definitely for his talent, but more of like the enigma of what he is. Because it's almost as if every game that he plays, he gets a touchdown. But that's the question, is how many games is he going to play for you? Is he going to play 8? Is it going to be the full 16? Fingers crossed. But when he does play, he wins you games single-handedly.
Yeah.
So I love the guy.
Yeah, I mean, look, he was a first-round pick in 2016. A lot of people forget that. Like they drafted him with a lot of hope and potential. He's no schmuck. Like he's the real deal, man. He's just had a lot of injury issues these last couple years. But in 2018, he played 7 games. 4 of those games, he had over 10 points. He had over 10 fantasy points in those 4 games. And so he had a lot of targets, 4 touchdowns, and 32 receptions in just those 7 games. So if he could stay healthy, I think he's a guy that you could get as your wide receiver 4 or 3 on your team.
Yeah.
And if he stays healthy the whole season, and he could catapult and easily be that guy that plugs into your lineup and plays a low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2 caliber type guy. For now, I think he's a flex. He's a really good flex, but man, he packs some upside. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm trying to grab him in every league that I can.
Yeah.
If I see him, I might jump on him around early because I think he's a real deal. He's a beast. And I want it. I want that on my team. So
yeah.
So Brian, is there anything that you love about the Titans or the Jaguars this season?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the Jaguars bounce back. I think they just had a really rough season. I think they bounce back a little bit. They've got a better quarterback with Foles back there now. I think the offense is going to improve a little bit. I think their defense is going to improve. I think Jaguars defense, Saxonville will be back, is what I'm predicting. So they should have a dominant defense, which should help out the offense. So I think Jacksonville has a pretty good season. I don't know if they make the playoffs, but I think they're right in the mix of it. The Titans are interesting. I don't think they're going to be good, and so I just don't see it.
They won so many games that were so close last season. So I mean, that just goes to show that they're grinders, but they were also this close to not winning. So they could go either way in my books. So
yeah, they're a team that I'm watching closely. Who do you think wins the division? I think the Colts win it.
Yeah. I'm gonna go out and say the Houston Texans win it this season.
I think both the Texans and the Colts are playoff teams.
Yeah.
But I think the Colts win the division. That's my prediction. And I think it's gonna be close. I think the Texans and Colts will be neck and neck. They might split their games, and I think it literally comes down to, and it could come down to tiebreaker.
Yeah,
I think they're both very talented teams.
Very true. All right, let's move into our hates.
Hate.
This one's easy. I hate the entire wide receiving core of the Tennessee Titans.
I have the same thing on my paper. Tennessee
I don't want to touch
receivers,
anybody.
hate 'em.
Corey Davis, I don't want him. AJ Brown, he's a talented rookie, but I'm not touching him this season. Adam Humphries, I don't want that. Tavon Taylor, nope. There's just not a name here that entices me to pick it.
Let me ask you this.
Even at his value, Corey Davis, I still don't want him. I don't want to take the flyer.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Is it the Tennessee wide receiver core talent that you don't like, or is it the situation?
I love their talent. I think Corey Davis, AJ Brown alone are talented out of their mind. I'm not a fan of Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, me either.
He's not consistent enough. He gets injured way too often. And when he gets injured, guess who's stepping in? Ryan, throwing ducks, throwing potatoes, Tannehill. I want no part of it.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm with you. I have it written down too. The talent for the wide receiver core, I don't question. I think they've got a very talented wide receiver core. Mariota, I don't know what happened. I thought he had a really bright future there for a little bit. These last 2 seasons have really turned me on that. I think there is a ray of hope for that team. And I think the ray of hope is, number one, this year, their schedule. They've got a really easy schedule. True. So I think in our key to the title for strength of schedule, I noticed that Mariota has like 10 games against bottom 18 defenses in passing against the pass. So that's encouraging. I still don't trust him. So no. I don't trust him. I don't trust his decision making. Maybe he can pull it. Maybe he can pull it a rabbit out of a hat this year and turn it around. But I am not impressed these last 2 seasons for him. And so for that reason, I'm out on the Tennessee wide receivers. I just straight Shark Tank that. I realize. Yep. For those reasons, I'm out. See ya.
Another player that I'm out on, and you might disagree, but I don't think you do. Leonard Fournette. I don't like him this season. I don't like him any season. I don't see a guy that has the the right personality to thrive in the NFL. He's kind of like, I'm the best. People should know that I'm the best. I don't need to show up to camps. I don't need to do this. I don't need to do that. And because of that, he shows up out of shape, gets injured pretty quickly. Now, granted, this offseason, he did come to camp looking lighter, a little bit faster, but he still had the attitude that's just no fun to be around. I think he's just one of those guys that's draining for the team, and you're going to be very unimpressed with him.
So it's interesting. You and I have the same people on our hates list. I have Leonard Fournette as well. However, and I agree with you. I think he's got this attitude, this mantra about him, but I'm less concerned about that because he had that first season. I mean,
true.
Just if you remember the one run, he runs around the side and he's got a defender coming at him and he waves the defender to come on, man, bring it, like hit me, and he plows right through him. Like that mindset, it's a double-edged sword. It can be extremely helpful and catapult you to levels of success you only could dream of, right? That I'm the best edge type mindset. But it can also be a detriment if you let it consume you. And so I think he has let it consume him. The thing that worries me more about him isn't really his mindset, it's his injury history.
Yeah.
And so
I hadn't even touched on it yet.
Yeah, he's such a high risk for injury. He was in college. He had a lot of hamstring issues in college. Yep. Or I'm sorry, ankle issues, I believe it was. Or was it hamstring?
They were ankle. He's got hamstring injuries now.
So he's having hamstring injuries now. Ankle injuries, now he's got hamstring injuries. And I look at him as a guy that he's going to miss games every year. Yep. Because he's a hard runner. He runs at you. He's a hard-hitting bruiser type back, and that's rough on your body. And then when you're already an injury-prone type person, then it really piles up over the years. He's entering into his fourth year.
Mm-hmm.
No, third year.
This is his fourth.
Fourth year. Yes, that's right. He just finished his third. Yep. Thank you. He's entering into his fourth year. That's 3 years of pounding and bruising on his body that's already injured on top of his college career. This is I look at some of the guys that are going around him, Chad. He's going at the 301. And here's the deal. At the 301, I don't think he's a bad choice. Like, if he does what he did his rookie year, he's a steal at the 301. And I know that because I took him in the late second his rookie year, and I needed him. He helped keep me irrelevant in a year that I took David Johnson at the 101. Or was it the 102? And
101.
The 101. And David Johnson got injured in the first game of the season. So, I needed Leonard Fournette that year, and he helped. So I know what he can bring to the table. So at the 301, he is valuable there. But he is a high injury risk. You have to know that going in. So you better have another option at some point on your team. Here are the other guys that are going around the same draft price as him. Devonta Freeman, Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, Marlon Mack, we just talked about in the last little piece. I think I would take every one of those guys over him right now, but not by much. So that's kind of where I'm at with Leonard Fournette. I fear his injury history more than anything.
Yeah, agreed. I misspoke earlier. It is the third season for him. So
yeah, that's right.
All right, let's move on to the NFC.
NFC South.
So, Jesus, that voice. The NFC South is one of those offensively stacked divisions. And actually, in my eyes, it's like a top 3 division in the league, easily. It's got upside. It's got proven players, proven veterans, and just a whole lot more. So let's start it off, Brian, because there's a lot to talk about for Loves. Let's start there.
Love.
What better way to start this than let's start with the New Orleans Saints. Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara. I'm going to leave it with those 2 names alone because I love both of them. Kamara, and both of them, the draft price is there. I mean, they're both first-round picks, and for a reason. So with both of these guys, it's just one of those no-brainers. Throw it on the wall. You're good to go. you're not going to miss on these two. So just go for it. And I love it. Would you disagree? I mean, do you like Michael Thomas this season? I know you like Alvin Kamara.
I like Kamara. I like everybody on the Saints. There's nobody on the Saints that you could look at and go, I just like it, what I see here.
Yeah.
What I would say is, there are some players in the NFC South on teams that I really am looking forward to seeing what they can do. And so, for example, like I think Ronald Jones on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can bring to the table. He had a really, really disappointing rookie season, averaged 1.9 yards per carry. And so I think the team seems to believe in him. I think he's got huge upside. He's, for fantasy relevance, he's going in the middle of the 8th round. And I'm looking for him to be a guy that could take over a lead back role there. And I look at what Arians did in Arizona. Then you look at David Johnson, and immediately you start looking at Ronald Jones thinking, could he be a David Johnson type guy? The talent is there. He's very, very talented.
Explosive. I mean, he's an explosive guy.
Super explosive. Yeah. He's going to need to improve that yards per carry number. That's going to have to get into the 4s. And that's the only way he's going to stay relevant. So
yeah,
I think he does. I think he can do it. That's who I'm looking forward to. So there's some upside potential there. So I really like him. I don't know. I mean, I like a lot of players on the Bucs. I think the Bucs are stacked with talent.
Yeah. I think
on the offensive side.
A thing that I love is not just so Jameis Winston, it's not just his talent that's there. It's the intrigue with me. And I love that situation. Because he's got a coach that can coach him up and turn him into this elite quarterback, fantasy-wise. And he's got the talent around him. So let's bring it together, Jameis, because it's there. You can be something special. So I love the situation. Yeah, it's hard to find something that I hate because there's a lot to love. The Falcons, loaded with offensive talent, play most of their games indoors. And Christian McCaffrey, I'll say right now, I have him ranked at number 2. I'm debating putting him at 1 because I think he's going to have the workload and everything that's there to try and repeat that 106 catch season. And I think he's going to carry the ball more because he put on some weight. They're going to use him up the middle more. I think in 2019, he's one of the scarier options in fantasy football in terms of talent and production. I love him.
Yeah, I'll go with, I like Devonta Freeman a lot. And here's why. So again, we just got done talking about the Falcons were mentioned as a team with a lot of offensive power. Devonta Freeman there's no one else there to take the totes from him now. And so here's what he had in the past. 2015, 1,000 plus yard rusher. 2016, 1,000 plus yard rusher. 2017, 865 yards rushing. Only played 14 games though. Averaged over 4 yards per carry in all of those seasons. 11 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns on the ground. 3, 2, and 1 through the air in those seasons. 2018, he was injured, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on him. Here's a guy that's going to come in to a team that desperately needs to run the ball more to create more balance so that their defense can actually have a little bit of a break. They've got a lot of talent through the air. Matt Ryan, I think, is still going to stud it out this year. A lot of games you just got done saying played indoors this year. That should help him be even more efficient. If he can stay healthy, here's a guy you can get in the middle of the 3rd round that could easily be an RB1 this year, and he's going off the board as the RB17 currently. So
yep.
I like that. I think that's some hidden value there that you can wait a little bit, grab him as your, if you went wide receiver right off the bat, if he sneaks around to you in the 3rd and he's there, grab him. You have an upside potential guy. I think you're sitting pretty.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move into the things that we hate.
Hate.
So we said it before, there's not too much to hate, But I got a couple of things, and I'm going to start it off with the same team that I started off before, the Saints, and that's Jared Cook. So a lot of people are looking at Jared Cook and thinking, oh, Drew Brees got Jimmy Graham back. No, that's not what's going to happen. Jared Cook is a serviceable tight end and can do the things that they can ask of him, but he's not this elite talent, and he's not this guy that you need to jump on in the earlier rounds to fill your team up. Drew Brees hasn't given a lot of target share to his tight ends in a long time. Maybe it's because of talent, or maybe it's because he just doesn't look there. He'd rather throw it to his running back, which is a much more accurate decision, or he'll throw it to his wide receiver who caught 85% of his catches. There's no reason to go to the tight end. He doesn't need a safety valve. I don't think Jared Cook's going to have this massive season or this season-saving performance for you this year. So don't draft him as that.
Well, and the other thing too is I think Drew Brees is not getting any younger, and so as the season carries forward, I think they're going to rely more on Alvin Kamara to run the ball. They become more of a smash mouth offense. I think that's going to hurt Michael Thomas as the season goes on. You saw it last year. Yeah. Drew Brees clearly fell off a little bit towards the end of the year. I mean, he was having an MVP season, and then it was just like, nope, Mahomes is the guy now. Like, yeah. So I mean, I think those are my not hates. I hate to use the word hate on this, but it's just my fears with the team. As far as hates, I will say from a fantasy standpoint, I'm not touching the Buccaneers defense. Yeah. So I mean, there may be some streaming options here or there, but I think they're gonna improve over last year. They were the bottom of the barrel defense last year, and so you didn't want to ever play them. I think that is mostly the case again this year. They'll improve a little bit. Arians will help them improve, and then they did bring in some talent, but they're still a long ways off. They're a few years away. So I think that's a defense I'm staying away from. I'm not really looking to touch anything in the Buccaneers defensive side of the ball. And
what do you think about Cam?
I don't know. What's that?
What's your thoughts on Cam Newton? It's a situation that I hate. It's kind of this guessing game with him because he supposedly has the same injury that Andrew Luck had that he vanished on most fantasy owners a couple years ago. So, I mean, if this is happening to Cam Newton, he could disappear on you. And it could change the whole trajectory of that division.
Yeah, I think Cam Newton will be fine. I know he was injured last year. Until I see something otherwise, I have to assume, I'm not going to make an assumption that Cam's not going to be Cam anymore. So I think Cam Newton's still Cam Newton. Not worried about that at all, really. So it hasn't even played a role in my rankings.
So if you draft him, you're not worried about it?
No, unless I hear something else or I see something else. But as of right now, this early, the answer is no. That may change here in a couple weeks as players start to report to training camp towards the end of July, and we start to get closer to that. We start seeing Cam Newton throwing the ball more. That we'll know more then. But as for now, no.
All right. Who wins the division?
Saints. Yeah, I think the Saints do, but I think the Falcons are gonna. I think the Falcons are gonna be there, man. I really do. I think the Falcons are gonna be close.
I think the Falcons defense is going to be better this season than people think. Because, I mean, they dealt with a slew of injuries at all of their key positions on defense last season. Those players should be back. They should get Keanu Neal back, who's one hell of a safety.
Keanu Reeves?
Ooh, don't get us started. But that defense should be way better. I'm going to put on the board the Atlanta Falcons are going to win this division.
Okay.
Because in this division, nobody wins it twice, I feel like.
Yeah, I see that. I think the Saints are just so talented on both sides of the ball.
True.
And I think Drew Brees is really trying to get another ring before he retires. And so but I think the Falcons, I think it's going to be the Saints Falcons. I think it's going to be close.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's show, everybody. Be sure to tune in every Monday to stay up to date on the fantasy football world and to gather any insights on how to dominate your fantasy football league. Be sure to check out our website and enter for your chance to be in the Underground League, which, by the way, entries in this week. We're going to be filled up, so get on in there enter to be into it. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, it's not too late. So, we've got 3 more spots to fill, and just because you're entering now doesn't mean you're not being considered. You go into the pool, we're looking at everybody's entries, we're kind of reading through them, and we're strategically picking them. And who knows? Might be 2 leagues. You never know. So get your entry in, and definitely do that soon, because Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, that's it, right, Chad?
Actually, for this week, Brian, we're going to be doing, because of the holiday, we're going to be doing Monday, Tuesday, and finishing on Wednesday.
Oh, wow. Okay, so there you go. So get them in now. You're listening right now. It's Monday. Get your entry in today, so that way you're considered. Heck, you could be part of the draw today. So definitely get it in. Also, be sure to head over to keytothetitle.com. That is our fantasy football system, and you'll find draft rankings, draft advice, and guides. That is going to be a part of that system. We'll also be helping you throughout the season as well on advice, guidance on how to bring home that hashtag BroMob title. So head over to keytothetitle.com to learn more about that as we roll out our Key to the Title system here over the next few weeks.
If you're not on Apple Podcasts, we're also on Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever it is that you like to listen to the show. We're everywhere. Follow us on Twitter at FFBros Podcast, and you can also check out our website at fantasyfootballbros.com. See you next week, everyone.
Bye, everybody.